Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Monday. It's Monday morning, and I remember my watch, so it is 8:41 a.m., and it is November 7th. Hooray. Oh, goodness gracious. I took a sleeping pill last night, and so because I took a sleeping pill, it leaves you just like a little more, I'm not going to say drowsy in the morning, but you still want a little bit more sleep. That's the problem with sleeping pills. So they work and they'll get you to sleep, but in the morning when your alarm goes off, you still feel like you still need some extra Z's. And on the sleeping pill, I probably could have slept till 11 o'clock today, but I did not. Happy Monday. You know, Monday is my favorite day of the week for many reasons. And welcome to everyone watching the video. And if you're new, you should know that Monday videos are a good chat. They are a good chat. I don't concern myself with whether it's going to be long or short or in between. I just chat and we just have a good time. Kitty Joy. I'm sure you noticed her just bolt on in here. Because of the title of the video, I figured, you know what? We're just gonna let them live their best life. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna let them live their best life. And I knew that would happen. So in efforts to let them live their best life, me not having to deal with them jumping on my bag, and since this is a chatty video, I'll show you what's in this bag. It's actually a sweater that I've been working on for some time. I just haven't had enough time to get it done. But it's the beginning of a sweater, a nice chunky kind of autumn sweater that I've been working on. So this should be a fun, I'm not gonna say a distraction-free video because this guy here is trying to take the spoon out of my glass, which I'll show you as well. So let's just get Kitty acquainted here. Let's say hello, Tiger Mom, since you're here. I want the people to see what you're doing here. Don't stop now. Show them why you were making that tinkering sound. This. This is why. Okay. Here we go. And Eclair just loves like little bags and things, so we'll move this a little further away. All right, and I hope you really are not just, is your face in there? It sure is. All right, well, let's do it. Anyway, this weekend was a good weekend. And let me tell you, Saturday was 79 degrees and yesterday was 81 degrees here in Virginia, which is so crazy. For November, like crazy. Now, it doesn't get terribly cold, but 81 in November is a bit much. And so today's high is actually 78, and I thought I'd come out here and just show you how beautiful it is, how beautiful of a day it is here in Virginia. And no, the leaves have not been blown. My whole entire yard looks like a fall extravaganza. And that's just firewood that gets collected to go up in there if you were curious. But it's such a nice day out here, let me tell you. And I need to just sit down and bask in it. Maybe I'll come outside and do some work. But yeah, it's been unusually warm here. Oh, there's some dogs. We probably can't see them. It's been unusually warm here the last couple of days. But I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Taking it all in for sure. But back to the video. So as per usual, I want to shout out everyone who commented on my last video. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And of course, I have all sorts of little notes to talk to you about. And then the question of this week, which is on this little piece of Post-it, which I've had for quite a bit of time. All right, so let's start out with the comment. What do you call those things? Jesus. The comment shout outs. All right. So thank you very much, Married and Blessed, for offering up your Vlogmas ideas. As always, please comment your Vlogmas ideas because I'm still definitely really considering it. And in order for that to happen, I really need actual ideas. So if you didn't comment last week with a Vlogmas idea, please comment this week with a Vlogmas idea. I would really appreciate it. And of course, any questions that you may have, because again, the way these Monday videos happen is I answer the questions that you put forth to me. And so if I don't have any questions, then I can't sit here and chat. Oh, okay, M&M cookie. And I say M&M cookie, but I understand that this is the Cookie Monster reference, right? Cookie. One, thank you for last week's question, because I said that I was going to put the name of the person who asked the question last week on the video. And then when I was editing, I forgot. So thank you very much for last week's question. And also thank you for your Vlogmas ideas. Appreciate it. Just Clean, thank you for your Vlogmas ideas. Yen Ellison, so this is my first time seeing a comment from you, but I definitely appreciate it. It was very nice and very kind and very sweet, and I like when I get comments from people that I haven't noticed and they talk about like how they've been around for years, because it's always nice when someone decides to comment. So thank you. And I'm happy that you've noticed, I guess, my thoughtfulness over the years, and I appreciate your Vlogmas idea. Beautiful Southern Roots, thank you so much. And you didn't need to apologize. So I get that there's a billion people on YouTube, right? So have a memory or a recollection of something that may not be of the person that you're watching. It's totally fine. I wasn't offended. You didn't ask me a question like something way off the wall. But one good thing to know is that question about the wreath, and if I like had it up all year round, there was someone that commented and said they do have their wreath all year round. Cookie, the Cookie Monster reference, she says she keeps her wreath out all year long, so there's no worries, right? Somali F, thank you very much for Vlogmas and adding a question so that I have another question to answer at some point on Monday. Glory Days, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. That was so sweet. I realized that last week I got caught up on explaining to you about Black Adam, and then I never went back to what I did for my birthday. So I'll try to include some pictures. But yes, I went to see Black Adam, which I was very interested in seeing. I went to Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory is one of my favorite chain restaurants, and there's not that many, and I really do love it. The next day I ended up going to P.F. Chang's for dinner, which I haven't been to P.F. Chang's in at least like 7 years, and let me tell you, that food was so good. Like, chef's kiss, so good. I've had a good like what is that, like a fried string bean kind of thing for an appetizer with this sauce that was thebomb.com. I took a visit to a museum that I really wanted to visit that I hadn't been to yet locally. I went to a park that I really enjoy to give a nice walk around. I've been trying to be more active and walk, so I did that. There was another plan for my birthday that had to be postponed, but I found out what that was, and I was gifted a pottery class. And so I am a super crafty person. I love to make things with my hands. And one of the things that I was gifted is a pottery class. And in the past years, I've gone to the ones where like you walk in and there's a whole bunch of things for you to paint, and then you paint them up and they put them in a kiln, and then you go back and then you get your little item all nice and shiny. I'll probably toss some pictures in of what that looks like. But I've always wanted to go to a pottery class where you actually have the clay, they put it on the wheel, they teach you what to do with it. So I will be doing that actually rather shortly, and I'm looking forward to it. It's coming up this weekend, as a matter of fact. Thank you so much, Thais. You always comment, and I always appreciate that. Thank you for your Vlogmas ideas. Megan, thank you for your Vlogmas ideas, and also your comment on my most recent sonography video. And Arlette, thank you so much for your comment as well. And also, there was something you wrote about owing explanations, and I think the gist of the conversation or the comment was that you appreciate me coming on here and like having these conversations with you and being open and transparent, but also that I don't owe you guys explanations. So I did want to chime in about that real quick before I got onto the question, the owing of explanations. So one thing to remember is that I am far removed from my situation, and so By the time I come back here and I sit here and I talk to you, I'm giving you the information that I am most comfortable with. And I also answer the questions that I am most comfortable with. So if the questions are like super invasive and I choose not to answer, then you just never hear them and I don't answer them. But luckily for me, none of you have asked like super duper questions that I thought were like terribly invasive. But in regards to owing an explanation, so the very first video I did, which I will put up here, which I think I did at the beginning of this year, either the beginning of last year, might have been the beginning of this year, where I came back and I answered the questions, and it was something about like the questions you've all been waiting for or something like that. Like if I had children, if I was still married, all those things. That was a video that I felt like I owed you an explanation to. And I have no problem with feeling that way. And that's because I'm one of these people that have been on this platform for at least a decade. And I have followed many of vloggers' lives and people's videos. And when they fall off the face of the earth, I feel like they owe me an explanation because I have invested my time and energy into their life for almost 10 years or 3 years or 4 years or whatever amount of time. And they took their time to share with me. And it's always nice just to know if someone's okay. So even if it's not a thing where, oh, well, you need to have the nitty gritty of everyone's like personal business, I've always wanted to know if they were okay when they fell off the face of the earth. So I understood people wanting to know what happened with me because I took a 4-year break from YouTube. 4 years, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you guys are still here and still watching. Thank you. But I felt like that amount of time was owed an explanation at that time. Like, hey, you watched me from the beginning. You watched me married. You watched me TTC. You watched me try to make a baby. You watched me shop. You watched me move places. You watched like so much of my life. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I was okay. And these are the things that were happening and I was going in a new direction. But as for the Monday videos, no, the questions that I answer, I definitely feel like those are questions that I'm comfortable with and I have no problem answering. So it's not a thing of feeling like I owe you an explanation. So last thing before I get to the actual question is I was upstairs on my way downstairs and I thought, I haven't shared with you guys any of the books that I read. I'm reading a lot less at the moment because of school. I have an insane amount of reading to do in a week. And so I don't have as much like leisurely time. But if you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I could be reading like 5 books at a time. Unfortunately, I can't read 5 leisurely books at a time because of school. But the book of the month, I want to share that with you. And so the book that I am reading currently is this book called That Bird Has My Wings by, Jarvis Masters. And I'll leave a link to it in the description box if you're interested in like reading about what the description is. I am terrible with descriptions, so I'm not even going to try to tell you what it's about. I don't try descriptions about books. I don't try descriptions about movies. I don't try descriptions about Netflix series. I can suggest them, but I am terrible at telling you what the books are about or what the things are about. So I'm just gonna leave it linked below. Anyway, on to the question at hand. Okay, we had to pause for the cause for a little bit because like children, cats, like if you start to hear nothing, you should be a little concerned, right? And so I was sitting here and I'm thinking, they were acting up, acting out, living their best kitty life, right? And so when I say acting up, I don't mean like bad because they're cats, but they were out here living their best kitty life, getting their whole life on. And then all of a sudden they disappeared the whole entire time I was talking to you. And I thought, oh no, let me make sure they're not getting into anything, which to be honest, they probably can be. But what I noticed is that my bedroom door is open. And because my bedroom door is open, who knows what they could be getting themselves into. And I probably should go close it. It's probably in my best interest. I thought I'd sit here and record and not worry about it, but be right back. Be right back. Also, we need them. So I'm going to come get you guys so we can show our friends you. Okay, so here's the thing. They are no longer small. See? Tiger Balm, Eclair, not small. Not small by any means now. Much bigger, will be much bigger. Only 6 months. He is a chunkamunka, see? He's a chunkamunka. Yeah? Okay. So, the question of the day that I chose. Okay, what made me decide to get cats, and are they my first animals that I've owned as an adult? And this question was from Megan. I thought that was a great video topic and a great question because some people may ask. And so these are my kitties. The orange one is Tiger Balm. The other one is Eclair. Tiger Balm is a boy. Eclair is a girl. They are currently 6 months and they are growing very, very fast. And I'm very happy to have them. They're such great and loving animals. And I feel like cats get a bad rap because they come across as crazy and they want to scratch you and do bad things. But that's not all cats. And I am definitely an advocate for cat ownership. And I would say that if you want a cat, that you should get the cat from when they are little baby kittens. And I'll insert some videos of when they were little and very small, because at that time, just like kids, you have the opportunity to mold them and to make them very nice. And so my kittens are very nice. They love people. They love to be held. They love to be pet. They live their best kitty life. They don't scratch people and bite them. Anyone that comes can come. They can pet their head. They can pet their body. They're fine with having their tummies rubbed. They don't mind getting their little nose booped. They're very sweet. And that's because I've had cats before, and I know that that's what you have to do in the beginning to make them very nice and social animals. Just give them all the love you have. Carry them around. Be sweet with them. So they are not my first animals as adults. Throughout my life, I've had both cats and fish, and those were the main animals that I've had. And that's largely because I lived in New York. So I grew up in New York City, which means I spent a lot of time in either an apartment or a co-op or a townhome, and you don't really have space. I mean, in my personal opinion, I know people have dogs and bigger animals, but I don't think that we really had the space growing up with the size of my family. And just the amount of space for dogs to actively get around to be able to have that. So we always had cat and we always had fish. And then I grew up as an adult, always loving cats and always loving fish. So if you follow my videos way back in the beginning, I didn't have cats. These are my first true set. But when I was married, I did have fish and I really loved my little fish. So I decided that I wanted them, and I also wanted them to have a play partner. So that's how I ended up with two. The original story is I was only supposed to be getting Tiger Balm. But of that litter, Eclair was still left over the night that I was supposed to be getting her, getting him the night before. And so I was like, well, can't leave a kitty behind. I would feel bad if no one came to rescue her. So I will go ahead and I will adopt her as well. And they are from the same litter. So although they look drastically different, he is definitely a full orange American Shorthair Tabby, and she is black with a brown and gray. She's also a tabby. They are from the same litter. There were also calico cats that were a part of that litter, meaning they were a combination of his color and her color. And if you're unsure what a calico cat looks like, I will insert a picture of a calico. But yes, So I love them and I chose to get them because I like cats and they're great company and they are super sweet. They are also expensive, but super sweet. People say like, oh yeah, you don't worry about it because you really just have to pay for them to get like neutered or whatever. But there's so much more. There's so much more. You got to get their yearly shots and all sorts of things. And if they're spoiled, then they get cat trees and they get automatic feeders and they get water fountains and all sorts of things. And these little kitties here, these kitties are absolutely living their best life and they are spoiled. And Eclair's here, she's just very close to me. But these are actually their feeding things. And let me see if I can get her to say hi. Well, she'll eat maybe. Do you want to look at the people so they, nope, she doesn't. Okay, so this is where they eat their food. This is an automated feeder. It has a timer. It has like voice talking and all sorts of things. It's just something that makes me feel better. Cats are relatively easy to take care of. You can technically leave out a whole bowl of food and go away and do your things and come back and they'll be fine. But I don't feel comfortable with that because they're still kittens and kittens will eat in excess, unlike older cats. And so this is timed and it feeds them twice a day. It could feed them up to 4, 5, 6 times a day if I really wanted. That is a water fountain, which is pretty good. And I've enjoyed the two of things. So if you have animals and you're interested, I will also leave links to these down in the description box. I have an Amazon store of some sort where you can put like your Amazon suggestions. If I can get it to go in there, I would do that. If not, I'll just leave the links. But yeah, I love these two things. And she's decided to sit so I can show you her a little better. Yeah. Yeah. Like, all right. So you want to say bye to the people and hi? And hi? And hi? Yeah. Oh, look at the kitty kisses. Look at the kitty kisses. But I love them. They are so good and they are so sweet. And so yeah, I would suggest getting a cat. I would suggest getting a cat. Like if you want some extra company, then they are perfect for that. I definitely go into little places like I think it's PetSmart that has cats where you go and you can see them and look at them and decide like if you want to get them and take them out and pet them. Fun fact, when I lived in Georgia, I actually volunteered at a kitty, like a little kitty house. I'm not going to say it was a cafe because now they actually have kitty cafes. I've heard they have one here in Virginia where you can go and eat and all the kitties are in there and you can pet them and all sorts of stuff. I've never been to a kitty cafe, but also with the opportunity of adopting them. But this was like a kitty sanctuary kind of place. And so I volunteered there. I would go in, I would change the cat's food, I would change the cat's litter, I would play with them for a certain amount of time in a day just to keep them nice and socialized and things. And so I've always really loved and enjoyed cats. Surprisingly enough, I would consider a dog. So I've only had experience with, I've only had experience with living with one dog. And he was a really nice, beautiful dog. And I remember the first day that I met him, I was very scared. His name was Jackson, and he was a very big black pit bull. And I'll insert like pictures of him. He ended up dying last year, sadly, from causes we are unsure of, because he died in his sleep. Everything seemed like it was going fine, but then he ended up passing away. But anyway, he was a big black pit bull, and they look ferocious, but let me tell you, they're so sweet. He was the sweetest, most kind, like best company ever. So if you'd like a pet, I suggest you trying it out and getting one. And I guess I shouldn't say trying out because honestly, you want to be committed when you make that choice. You know, it's not a good idea for you to get a pet and then return them. It's not like clothes, you get what I'm saying? And that was one of the sad parts about the pandemic because there were plenty of stories that run around about people feeling like super lonely and getting these pets during the pandemic. And then after the actual height of the pandemic, taking them back and returning them to shelters, like that has to be very jarring for an animal. And the thing to remember is that like they have lives, like they're active, like they remember your face, like they know you, you know, they get used to your habits, all sorts of things. So if you're not 100% sure, think about it. Thank goodness there's YouTube, so you can check YouTube and see like what it is to mean to own cats or pets or dogs, iguanas, lizards, turtles, guinea pig, whatever it is that you want. But the only thing that I would say that if you're going to get an adopted pet, to be committed to that, to really be committed to that. Anyway, um, I'm gonna get going. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Monday video. And as always, please leave me questions and please leave me Vlogmas ideas because I would like to do it. I would like to do it, but I also want to do things that you're interested in as well. All right, so until next time, I will see you next Monday.